players dive and like roll over. I've seen Shaq fall on people and people just laughed it off.
Joel Embiid.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for the guy to get all upset because, Lowry dove and it may have, I don't know, almost took out his wife or significant other, whatever. It's just stupid. And for him to reach out and push him, because it wasn't even, if you watch, he literally was like 2 chairs away and reached over to make a point to go get out of here. Like, just basically mushed him. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just think I don't want to say that they definitely did an investigation. They went in, they looked, and I listened to the whole clip with Adam Silver where he said, "Hey, we looked at this guy. He hasn't had any other things. He was very apologetic afterwards. He was smart. All those other people that got lifetime bans." They couldn't shut up. They were just, they weren't sympathetic. They were like, I did what I did. Who cares,
Yeah, Daniel Sterling comes from the Clippers ex-owner comes to mind.
Right. So I just think that, a 1 year, a 1 year ban for a guy that is a minority investor, owner, or whatever. I think it's good. I think it it opens the door to other stuff. So we can say, okay, 1 year ban, but anything happens, if you do anything, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, okay, this is your first blemish. You don't have anything else on your record. I could see if he had other stuff on his record, but he hadn't had anything else on his record before. So I feel like they handled it the best that they could because, really, this is the first year that we've really had this many instances of it. So I think the NBA...
broadcasted at least, yeah.
Right, exactly. With the whole one with Russell Westbrook, and they're getting a little out of hand. I will say that. These fans, they're getting up and close and personal. They got a little bit of that liquid courage in them, probably.
Yeah.
I've been to baseball games before with people, and football games as well, with people that I'm with, and, they're just continually just, drinking and drinking and drinking, and you just get mouthy, and their lips get looser and looser and looser. I'm like, hold on now, like, you're crossing the line here, and that's just it. People don't realize that, that can happen, and that you can be held accountable. If you do say something or do something, whether you were drinking or not, you're still able to do that. So, all in all, I commend Kyle Lowry for the way he handled it. I listened to the interview on ESPN Radio, and he basically said, like you said, I have kids. He goes, how can I look at my kids if I can't hold myself to a certain standard? Because I hold myself to a higher standard so that I can show my kids this is what we do. And it was funny too, because he said, he said if I didn't have kids or if I wasn't in the same situation, it might have ended differently for him.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you said.
Yeah.
And it really, that's our first instinct. When something like that happens, what's your first instinct? Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, you just flinch, especially...
You're bowing up. Yeah.
Right, especially if you don't know why this person's reaching out or touching you, or especially if somebody just shoves you. It's like, hey, well, this is my workspace. What are you doing? Don't touch me. So, like I said, I think the NBA did right. I think that there's going to be some different... They're going to handle it differently moving forward. This is just this is this is how it's going to go. But we'll see what happens.
See, I think the NBA didn't do enough.
I know that. I know.
I feel that being he's not the majority owner, because if he was, that's a whole different story.
Right.
But being a minority investor, as they quote unquote call him, you got to be held to a higher standard, like you just said. You're not some Joe Schmo fan. You're a guy that owns a percentage of that team. And also, with the 1 year ban, the Warriors are going to a new arena. They're in San Francisco next year. They're going to make money. They're going to make revenue. You're going to benefit from that. You're going to make money off this new arena. Yes, you can't go to the games, but you're still making money sitting at home watching the games. So, and you think about it, I think about the fan in Boston that they found out was making... Yeah, it was racial and it was threats, but he was banned for life, not just from Celtic games, but I believe he was banned from that arena, period.
Correct.
And I feel like if you're going to hold fans to that standard, yes, what he said was racially motivated, but at the same time, this is an owner or a part owner of the team. I think you should have to get rid of the shares. I think you get him out. You get him out the league completely, and if you send a powerful message that not only are we telling our fans this is not acceptable, but also to our owners, we're not going to tolerate this. We're not going to accept this at all. I think he should be out. I think he should be gone for good. If he was the owner of the whole entire team, I think the fine should be higher. and I think the ban might be 2 years, because getting rid of somebody who owns a big majority of the team is a lot more difficult than some guy who owns a small piece of it.
Right. No, I don't disagree with you either. I see where you're coming from in that, hey, lay the hammer down and make sure they know not to do it ever again.
I don't care about if he has. He's like, he had a clean record until then. Well, great. He lost his mind during Game 3 for whatever reason. Get him out.
Yeah.
Get him out. Liquid courage. Nah, that's just my thoughts. What do you have for news and notes? I know you have some interesting information about the World Championships coming up soon.
I got a couple of things here. I got the NBA, USA basketball is scheduled to hold their training camp in Las Vegas August 5th through the 8th, where they'll be participating in the FIBA World Cup in China from August 21st to September 15th. So we've got some players on there. Zion Williamson has been offered. Kemba Walker is said to be there. A couple other players, of course, Anthony Davis, James Harden, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Bradley Beal, Kevin Love. I'm trying to think. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. Paul Millsap, I think they said was going to be there as well. So
that guy's been on the come up.
There's definitely some names on there that are missing, and there's definitely some names on there that are really up and coming players that I'm excited to see. What they can do on that scene there. So that's kind of pretty cool. And talking about FIBA and the world and playing in China and stuff like that. Well, guess what? Now we got 2 games coming up. The Dallas Mavericks and the Detroit Pistons will tip off December 12th. And the San Antonio Spurs are taking on the Phoenix Suns December 14th in Mexico City. It'll be the 29th and 30th NBA games in Mexico City since 1992. So, we're in China, Africa we were talking about in the last podcast with the African League coming up, which is great. And now we got 2 games in Mexico City as well. So,
man, worldwide for real.
Right, big shout out to the NBA for really, stepping their game up. And, I mean, they've been doing it for years, but, it's just really cool to see it. And it says a lot about the game and what they represent worldwide. It's
getting bigger and bigger. Like we said at the beginning of the show, there's no days off at the NBA. You get a couple hours, but you don't get a full day.
Right.
You only get a couple hours to kind of recuperate. And I'm with you, too. I'm interested to see some fresh blood putting on the red, white, and blue and seeing what those guys can do on an international stage. I know for some of these players, because they're the lone star on their team, they don't get a chance to play with other superstars. So it'll be cool to see a Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard backcourt with Anthony Davis in the block, or even Zion Williamson on the wing. What's that going to look like? Will be fun to watch.
Right. I think the only thing that can kind of change that, obviously, is the injuries and stuff that we're going through with Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant is a staple of USA basketball.
Yep.
Will he play? I don't know. I mean, with this calf injury,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And free agency coming up, I don't think so.
Yep, and that's the biggest thing too with Anthony Davis. I know he wants to play too, but with free agency coming up, I guess it depends on what happens with free agency. So, but hey, I'm excited. I love USA basketball. It's one thing that I do. Catch every time I get a chance to. USA basketball, as well as soccer too, when they do the World Cup and stuff like that. I always try to follow and, represent my country.
The international scene is always where it's at, man. Try to tell folks. Now, before we hop into our NBA Finals conversation, of course, we always have our mailbag. It's always open before every show. If you guys want to hit us up on Twitter, @BucketsandDimes, give us a follow. Any questions you guys have about anything going on in the NBA, let us know. So we had a question that came from our friend Julio today, and he wanted to know, because the New Orleans Pelicans seem to be re-entering now the Anthony Davis sweepstakes and taking offers from other teams, he wants to know, who do we think the front runner is to sign and potentially trade for Mr. Davis?
Well, you and I had talked about this many times over the course of this season.
Conversation never gets old.
Personally, I know that I've seen some of the teams that he's requested to go to, but I just have this gut feeling that it's going to be one of 2 teams. It's either going to be the New York Knicks or it's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers. I think I give him a 50-50 chance to go to either team. I don't think either team is way ahead, except for the fact that LeBron's in LA. But the problem with LeBron being in LA and seeing what happened is, if you look at, clearly LeBron didn't have any other superstar all-stars there with him this past season, but either way, LeBron played his tail off, and, he's getting a little bit older. And does Anthony Davis really want to go to play with LeBron in his final maybe 2 or 3 years and hopes that, he can take LeBron to the bring LeBron back to the promised land? Or does he want to go start his own legacy with, say, Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant or Kawhi in New York? So, or Kemba Walker even. Kemba Walker and Anthony Davis in New York? Oh my gosh. With the talent that they have, Knox, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? They're going to make some of those. They're probably going to trade some of them guys.
If I'm Michael Jordan and the Hornets, Kemba Walker has got to be priority 1A, 1B, and 1C. He is the franchise.
Oh, they want him there. Yeah. It's not a question of do they want him. It's a question of does he want to stay? Does he want to be that guy that stays just because he wants to stay? But, does he have that goal of winning a championship? And is that goal more important than being on a winning team? You know what I mean? Like the Hornets, obviously, they're not terrible.
Yeah,
they're right on that cusp, I guess you could call it. But looking at them and analyzing where he's going in his career, do I want to stay in Charlotte or do I want to go to New York?
Yeah,
and
if I'm Kemba Walker, I gotta get out. I gotta get out.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I have to get out because, like
you gave him enough time.
Like you just said, you're not getting any younger. Is Kemba Walker super old? I'm not saying that by any stretch of imagination, but Kemba Walker's not getting younger. As the years go by, you don't get younger, you get older.
But the other thing is too, what are you guys doing to help me win a championship? If my goal is to win a championship, and I'm and I'm in a city, and I can see that my goals don't line up with that team's goals, then I gotta figure something out. I either gotta decide, am I gonna give up on my goal and just stay here because I like it here? Or am I gonna take the next step and I'm gonna check out and see, hey, what's this New York scene all about? I mean, Trust me, when you go into the Knicks with Kemba Walker, with the talent that he has and the handle that he has, I mean, he is going to be a star if he goes to the Knicks, especially if Kawhi, Durant, Anthony Davis, any of those other big guys, or even if, hey, who knows, maybe Zion could get traded somewhere in the mix of that as well.
He's going to New Orleans. He's not going to.
I know he is.
Well, to answer the question, I would say I think the front runner to get Anthony Davis is the Lakers. I think you sell him on, yes, LeBron James is on the tail end of his career, but you have a chance to be the next great Lakers superstar. You have the chance to go of a transition of Kobe, kind of nobody there as far as superstar status, LeBron, and then after LeBron bows out, it becomes Anthony Davis's team, Anthony Davis's legacy. But I will end my conversation with the same sentence I say all the time. You have to protect Kyle Kuzma at all costs. That guy's just so good, man. And he fits so well with the Lakers. I know he's a enticing chip. Teams are going to ask, everybody who trades with the Lakers is probably going to start the sentence off with, well, we want Kyle Kuzma, and you can't. He's a perfect fit of the style of player to play with LeBron James. I've said it before. Kyle Kuzma's the kind of guy that you can put him on a team with Magic and Larry Bird. He's hooping. He's not lost in the fact that, oh man, I'm on the court with Magic and Larry Bird. He's just playing basketball. And he's gonna shoot the ball when he feels like it. He's gonna play defense. He's not starstruck. And I think because of that, you've got to keep him on the team.
The only reason I would actually give the Knicks the advantage over that one is because of what's going on right now in Lakers land with Buss and Blinka. I mean, if you're Anthony Davis and you see that, do I want to go be a part of that? I mean, it's the Lakers. Yeah, it's one of the top franchises, or in the history of basketball. Right. We're talking about Magic. I mean, like, come on, let's do this. But at the same time, do I really want to get into that situation? You got to weigh your options and see what's important and see, are you okay with that, or is that something that you're not okay with?
That's a good point. That's something that they're going to have to clean up for sure, because that's going to affect a lot of people's decisions, because all players just want to go to work, play basketball. They don't want to deal with the drama, asking questions, answering questions from the media about why Jeannie Buss did this, and do you think Rob Pelinka meant da-da-da-da-da. Nobody wants to go through all that. So I think that's something they're going to have to clean up, and they're going to have to let people know that are thinking about signing with them that it has been taken care of. That's got to be cleaned up before anybody wants to re-sign or sign with your team. So that's kind of what's going on around the league. Like I said, never a dull moment in the NBA. A lot of cool conversation and talking points there for sure. Let's get to the main event, which is the NBA Finals. Of course, as Pat mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, Game 4, 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Right now, you got the Toronto Raptors with a 2-1 lead over the Golden State Warriors. We saw in Game 1, the Raptors came out